Hey everybody, welcome to Robin's house. I wanted to talk to you about coloring. So this stamp set, this is the March stamp of the month, and you can see that it has these giant butterflies and dragonflies made of all these little bitsy flowers, and it's very fun and cool until you go to color it. I colored one, and I'm not the best colorer. I don't know what colors should go where and all that stuff, so mine is questionable, but I'm never doing this again. This is a lot of coloring. So what I wanted to do was show you what else you could do with this kind of stamp set. And I had lots of fun doing it. So let's see what we see. So the first thing that I made was these sets out of watercolors. And I just think, how fun is it to color without having to stay in the lines? So I used my trusty water pen. And you know what? I also use my, even though I'm using a water pen, I still like to have a place to clean it off within each color family. So even though it's a self-contained and I can just wipe it off, when you're in the middle of things, it's just so much faster and easier to have something to start it and clean it. So when I'm doing this, I don't want to get my projects dirty, so I'll bring it back when I'm done. So when I'm doing this, and I introduced this a little bit in the Blue Skies workshop, is when I want to color something and I don't want to color it intricately, I just kind of hold it over my space, and I like it when it goes off the paper a little bit. And then I just kind of put some color where I think that color should go. I want it to go a little bit up and a little bit down. There we go. So that covers a little bit of him. And so now I'll go to the orange. I'll just kind of hold it up, and it can go a little bit further out. Maybe this side will be a little more organic. It's a bit dark, so I'll spread it out. Okay, now it's time for pink. So if I'm holding it up here, I can go a little bit out here. I think I'd rather have a darker pink. Magenta or pink. Let's see. So I'm a little outside the line, so I'm going to bring some down here. And then I definitely need some more up here. And this one can even come down probably a little bit. There you go. And then while I already have, I didn't bring my paper. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Since I already have all my paints out and my stuff, I'm just gonna take a scratch paper, kind of cover this a little bit. I'm gonna do my splotching while I'm already here. So I take my pink, juiced up real good, drop some pink splotches. I went a little nuts on my last project on my other one, so I'm going to try to tone it down a little bit. And I have noticed that the color brush will kind of keep that color, so I keep an extra thing of water so I can use between colors. Fun, fun. Love splatting. And then, yeah, see, I think it sucks it up a little bit. It's okay. That's why my water's there. Oh, I just went in the wrong one. Okay, add some yellow. And then I'm just going to set this aside to dry. We'll bring it back later to finish the stamping. When you're doing that, it's always a good idea to have some paper towel over here. See it? It's like it sucks that up. All right, so we've got our mask. We can take our mask off. See, the butterfly section is going to stay just fine. And we'll put that aside. Okay, so the next technique involves several different things. Clean off my mess. And I'm done with these watercolors. Take those away. Clean off my space just in case. Okay, next one. So this should look vaguely familiar in that it's also watercoloring. But in addition to watercoloring, it is doing embossing. So when you're doing watercoloring, embossing is super fun because you don't have to worry about the lines. So I'm going to remind you, it's been a long time since we embossed. So I'm going to do that real quick now. My foamy, and then my pillow. Don't forget your pillow. I always forget my pillow, and in this case, for all the embossing that I did, it was totally fine. That is not normally the case, so always use your pillow. On a big block like this, you want to take your ink and ink the stamp rather than tapping the stamp on the ink. Get nice and juiced up. And we'll take our embossing powder. I'm doing silver in this because how pretty is silver? Flick it carefully. I have flicked all the stuff off before. I think that was also because I waited too long to put the powder on after stamping it. Sometimes you choose to stamp many things in a row and then you go back to add the powder and it's a little bit dried. Okay, so then of course you take your tool, and I have no idea how loud this is going to be. But I'm hoping you can see that it changes. You can actually see when that ink, you can see it, is changing from powder to, I don't know, liquid, I guess. But once you see that change, you need to move off very quickly, because if you heat it for too long, it turns to a powder. So I'll just say that again, just in case that was impossible to hear. When you're watching it turn from powder to, I don't know, a heated liquid, once it turns, don't keep heating that section. Continue moving on, because if you heat a section too long, you literally burn it and it will go flat, and it will literally look flat. It will look this is a nice shiny image. When you cook it too long, it turns into a flat, shiny image, like a like a copper penny or something. So once it's heated and changes texture, move along. But it's so pretty. This this stamp set, such delicate lines, but it stamps beautifully on embossing. So now that we've remembered how to emboss, our next project, it is still watercoloring. And I do have two different versions here for you to see. And they both use the beautiful silver embossing. And the only difference is the color, because I kind of associate the dragonfly with boy stuff, and then this one with the girl stuff. So what if now we'll do the dragonfly instead of doing the butterfly? But it's the same idea, and it's actually really cool. We gotta use this one instead. We're still watercoloring, but we're not using watercolors anymore. We are going to use Distress Oxide, but instead of using our Distress Oxide tool, we're going to use the ink. So all you do is you put a little bit on your all-purpose mat, get your watercolor pen, pick up some paint, color. And then once you're done coloring the amount that you want, since I've already got this all here and ready to go, I'm going to just juice it up a little bit and make my splats. I'm going to try to make my splats. Get a nice big juicy. Now I got 3 more colors to go, so I shouldn't go too nuts. If you're prone to messes, you can clean up your greens and your any other splashes. And I don't really want a bunch on my guy, so I'm going to dab that off. I'm going to dab this off. I'm going to dab this off. So I didn't put that mask on like I did before. Okay, next color. It's beautiful peacock feathers. So pretty, you won't even believe it. This is wearing the wrong hat. Okay. So, peacock feathers. So pretty. And same thing, I'm going to grab some of that color off of there. Color his little wings. And gather up some juice. And flick. This is so much easier to control than using the regular paintbrush. Wipe this up, and then I still needed that chipped sapphire, so it wasn't a waste. I made a big old mess. Okay, so we need our sapphire. Paint the rest of his little wings. You notice I'm not being terribly careful. If it blends, it blends. If it goes off the paper, it goes off the paper. No big deal. And gather up some there we go. So pretty. Look how pretty our water is. Okay. So if I had wanted to plan ahead, I might have put a little mask here so that I could put my words without stuff behind it, but I didn't mind the stuff behind it on this word. And you know what I'm going to do? Oh, I can't anymore. Yeah, I can. I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to try to put it right in that little hole. Might work, it might not. There we go. But anyway, how fun is that? Super easy. Just drag some ink on your all-purpose mat and you have instant watercolors to play with. So awesome. So again, these are the cards that I made using that technique. Very fun. Okay, next technique. This one was pretty fun. So this one, we've got some clear embossing. And of course, clear embossing looks white when you do it on white daisy cardstock. So that's all I did, is I did some clear embossing on this paper. You can even see the butterfly in there. So now I'm pretty much done with watercolors, and I'm going to be using my Distress Oxides. And let's see, I want to use my Spiced Marmalade first. So this is kind of the yellowest yellow I currently have. There is a mustard seed, which I think is more yellower than mine. And I'm gonna be cutting this out, so it doesn't matter to me if I extend beyond my butterfly. I just want to get some nice color on there. Look at how pretty those little wings antennas are. So I want to make sure I have nice color in there. And then I just kind of go over it again just to clear off any excess paint in that section. And then I can move on to my pickled raspberry. So I get my pickled raspberry dauber. And I just move right alongside. Can't get too carried away. I want to blend a little bit, so I'm going to want this to be a little on the orange side. I don't want to go too far that I get in the way of the purple. See how pretty those are? The colors just stand out like crazy. Then need my purple Seedless Preserves. I'm gonna need to start a new thing for him. I had a purple thing, but it ran away. I have to start a new purple thing. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of just using a side. I'm not doing the full-on circle. If I did that, then I would end up with circles all over the place. And I kind of already end up with half circles all over the place. But I really don't want full circles. So again, just leave enough room that you can cut this out. Go over it real quick so you get the bright, shiny whiteness showing through. So pretty. There we go. And then the final step, which is actually pretty cool, and hopefully I remember to go back and show you. I have a Misty pen. This Misty pen, you put it, I don't know, maybe 12 inches from your project, and you missed it. You go back later, and where you missed it, there's little splotches where the water changed the color and the texture of it. So it's really fun. I'm going to have to set this aside to dry so we can come back to it. But in the end, to remind you, these are what we made. This is what it will look like after you cut that out. And then if we were to do the dragonfly with those blues, and I've got this posted on hologram paper, I forget which color, but it's a little bit on the dark purpley side. And so fun, fun, fun. Okay, the next technique is similar, but I did the butterfly and the dragonfly really on vellum, and oh my gosh, the silver, I didn't try any other color on the vellum, but the silver just goes beautifully. The lines are nice and thick, and embossing on vellum was a delight. So what we actually do for this card is you start with a blank. So my blanks, when I start with a blank, I make them 4 by 5 1/4. And that's because I can get 6 of those papers on from one sheet of cardstock. So I have a lot to work with. And then I just cut it down to what I need in the end. Because and usually that's the best idea, because you want to make your project, but then when it's done, you want to crop it and cut it so it's more appealing once it's done. And if you try to think of that when you're starting, it's impossible. Okay, so on this one, I wonder if we should, I'm going to make a red butterfly. I think I might have found my purple. My purple looked pink. I'm going to do pink. No. Okay, so I started again with purple. Still have purple on my thing. So just like when I was doing it with the block, I might put my project in this area, and then I know I want to have his body color right around here. I need to get enough on this page that there's enough color to show behind the vellum. And it even goes a little bit above and below his little body. Okay, now we can go kind of going backwards. Go to the pink. Blend it a little bit as you go. A little bit on the other side. Kind of see how you need it. Looks like I can go a little higher. I'm probably going to end up ruining it. A little lower. Okay, and now I can do that yellow. Spiced marmalade. I'll see if I can get it a little closer to his actual body parts than I did on my other card. There we go. And then on this side, so that is that. And then when it dries, I'll be putting that, and you can see the purples and the pinks and the yellows through those vellum wings. So that's lots of fun. Oh, I guess I should show. So I didn't do a very good job on the dragonfly card. So sometimes it just doesn't work out quite how you hoped or that it should. And then this one is this card, which turned out quite nice. And then again, if you want the technique, this is If you're going to have silver, you probably don't want the splotchy look, but just for fun, I'm going to extra splotch it, so maybe you'll be able to see it after it dries. I'm going to set it aside while I do the other things. Okay, finally, it is now time to go back to this first card that we did, where we have watercolor painted our butterfly without knowing really where the butterfly is. So now we can take our ink up our butterfly. I think I might have forgotten to take the Versamark off this butterfly. I'm pretty sure so that might affect my stamped image. I didn't clean it. And then we just lay it out where we want it to fall. And stamping on the top of watercolor paint is just gorgeous. The black just bursts from the color and so pretty. So, and it worked out very nicely this time as well. We have a nice messy butterfly, and then we just simplify it up with our message and some decoration, and that was super easy. It took more time to draw than it took to make the card. So you can easily make several of them at one time. And the only bad thing is I didn't do a good job of blending on this card. I should have tried a little harder. There's quite a line here. I was much more successful on this card. You can't really see where one color stops and starts near as badly as I did on this card, and that was poorly done of me. Okay, now we can go to our, this is the one that we did with the little tools, and I splatted it with a small bit of mist, and you can see those splotches that are missing. Anyway, it just adds a little bit of texture, and then once you cut this out, you won't even see all the mismatch inks here. And then on this card, where I really spritzed it, you can really see that difference in the texture on top of that. So super fun. And then if you're not even interested in coloring at all, whether it be with markers or watercolors or Distress Oxide inks, I encourage you to just try to do a monochrome. So these are with gold and using some of our old fundamentals papers that I had still on hand. All I did was emboss the image and cut it out, and it was done. But I did want to show you a sample of when I used the stuff too long. So I think you can kind of tell. The butterfly I burned, and the dragonfly I did not. It doesn't seem to be showing as well on here, but it is definitely, my butterfly has lost, it is no longer raised, and it's flat looking, whereas my dragonfly is raised and is not flat looking. So it's still pretty and it's still fine. I just want you to be careful. That's all. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your new ways of adding color to your cards without having to color every single little flower. Although it does look pretty, but it took an awful long time. So thank you so much for watching. Have a crafty day.